Welcome to the MA Professional Education. This is to just give you an idea of the kind of course it is and what your engagement with the course is going to be like. So the first thing you need to understand is the way that the different parts of the course fit together. And to help with that, it's important to realise that as this is half an MA, it's a slightly different experience to what you would get if you would get a full MA. We assume that you've already got a huge amount of skills and knowledge that comes from your PGCE, which is equivalent to what the beginning of an MA course would be like. So, generally across universities in the UK, there are two different types of master's courses that you can do. You can do a taught master's course, or you can do a research master's course. A taught course involves modules that you take, and there is content that is delivered to you that you're required to learn, and evidence in essays and exams that you might take. And the outcomes for success there are clear because there are really clear criteria relating to content and standards that you're expected to meet. So taught courses are very teacher-led with a lot of contact time. A research-based course is student-led rather than teacher-led. There is specific content of what is going to be studied, but it's not prescribed by the course leaders, it's chosen by the student researcher. A research degree assumes that you have the skills to pursue an effective research journey on your own, and the course tutor and the supervisor is there to be a critical friend as you go through that. So to achieve an MA in the UK, you need to complete 180 credits. And depending on the nature of the course, the beginning stages will consist of taught modules, and then you gradually progress onto research modules as you acquire the knowledge and skills that you need to complete successful research in your field. So most postgraduate courses are about 2/3 taught, and then the final third research-based, with the student-led research taking place in the final stage. So as you have already gained 90 credits from your PGCE studies, your MA begins midway through that journey. And there is no taught content as such. As a result, you are expected to determine the direction that your research takes as you go through the course. But the first module you take, your research module, is a kind of transitionary module. It aims to provide you with the core understanding that you need to undertake research as a practitioner in education. So there is some taught element, but how you engage with that material that's made available to you through that module is very much up to you. So that's the first thing you need to understand, what kind of course it is. The second thing you need to understand is that educational research is a really broad umbrella term. The title of your course is MA Professional Education, and that therefore puts some parameters around the kind of research that the course is involved with and what we expect to take place. You are a practitioner, and so we expect that to be the driving force behind your research. The word professional suggests that the course is concerned with the perspectives of those who have a professional role in education, particularly as teachers, although actually you might be connecting with educational professionally in a slightly different role. The word professional, though, is a contested one. There are people who devote their whole careers to understanding how professionalism is determined and what its limits are. And the word of education itself is also a can of worms. The world of educational research is on the one hand a discrete discipline, like you could put it in a box and say this is educational research, that's got a tradition grounded in social science. But on the other hand, its boundaries are not clear, and there are many, many other fields that an educational researcher can find themselves interacting with: psychology, politics, health, social theory, history, for example. As a subject specialist as well, if you're researching your own classroom practice, then you'll also be concerned with your own discipline and the traditions of research within that it draws on. So therefore, although the taught element of the course, the research module that you're doing, introduces you to research methodology that is about research methods in education, more generally in the course, through the Saturday sessions and the online resources on the MA Moodle page, what we also do is profile educational research that is more, the word's transdisciplinary. And you may find that your research involves some hybridity, educational research methods, but also other approaches as well. And that is fine where it's appropriate. So the third thing you need to understand is that you need to choose your position within that huge broad field of educational research and all the other fields that connects to. Educational research, even as a discrete field, is a broad church, and you'll find that as you read and you listen to lectures given by staff and you talk to individual tutors that you encounter, you'll find that there may be inconsistencies between the way people approach it. One person says one thing, another says something different, and that comes from a result of where they position themselves within that broad educational research field. It, of course, reflects what is true more generally in education, that there are many different perspectives on what education is, what it's for, and what the key problems for schools are and how they're best dealt with. And it also reflects the fact that research is, as I've said, a contested field. Researchers disagree at fundamental levels concerning what they believe about the nature of existence. And the word that is used for that is the word ontology. And they also disagree about what they think the nature of knowledge is. The word that's used for that is epistemology. Research vocabulary can be confusing, with those people taking slightly different positions, using different words to actually refer to more or less the same thing. As an MA student, you're not expected to get too deeply into ontology or epistemology. You can see I struggle with that word. But you do need to show a little bit of an understanding, and you will have to make a decision about what kind of researcher you are going to be and what kind of research you are going to pursue. And so that's where this first module, that your research module that you're doing, comes in helping you begin to negotiate that field. A really good way to do it is to draw on tried and tested research strategies, methodologies, to help guide you. And our first session on the induction day gave you some introduction to that, I hope. So the final thing you need to understand then is that you need to provide a convincing rationale for the approach that you choose to take. Your MA is based in the Centre for Teacher Education, and it's important to understand that your research module is a more generic module that people from lots of different positions in education connect into. It's concerned with educational research more generally, whereas we here in CTE are concerned with practitioner research. So those are different things in some ways. Your research module will give you a range of perspectives on educational research, and these will be complemented by the perspectives offered by the teaching on Saturdays and by talking with your tutor. There is no one right answer, and remember that as this course is student-led, built around your research, it's for you to choose your position and defend it by providing a really strong rationale. Yes, you take our advice, and you'd have to be a very, very brave person to go all the way through the course without having any conversations with anyone about this. We ourselves are researchers, and so we have perspectives and experiences that we can give to you that will help you. How well your rationale is defended, though, is really determined by your knowledge of what is currently important for you, for your students, for your school, for your colleagues, and by your reading about educational research and the research approaches that you identify with. I think we're almost there. Yes, we are. Got to my last page. So I hope that's been helpful. And if you have any questions, remember that staff are always here and willing to talk to you about it. But that's the kind of fundamental grounding that you need to understand the course and the direction it takes and the kind of provision. And I hope it's been helpful.